What is going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 7 of Wolves on Deck. I'm Jackson Voles. I'm here with Michael Miller. And across from me, as always, we have West Georgia pitching coach Dom Murgo. And we also have West Georgia pitcher Josh Lanum. Josh, Dom, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you on. And I want to toss it over to Michael Miller, actually, for his first question.
Yes, I'll just start this off with you, Dom. Just, for this weekend, when you have a situation where your offense goes out and puts up, 7 runs is the worst output they had this weekend against Jacksonville. Right. Is it kind of tough to kind of sit there and have that kind of discourse between the pitching staff and the offense a little bit when you have a situation where the offense is kind of lifting their part up, but the pitching staff just not really having things working this weekend?
So it was a tough weekend, really. Like, hitters did their job completely. Even like our starters went out and did well. Our back end of the pen struggled this weekend, and that'll change moving forward. I take blame for it. I might have used guys in the wrong positions, and we're developing as the year goes, and we're still in a good position. We're still right now in fourth. We dropped from second to fourth, but it definitely was frustrating seeing the hitters go out and do their job, and the pitchers just not get the job done.
Now, I know I sound like a broken record when I ask this question, but I do want to ask it to Josh just because we are later in the season and continuous ASUN conference play and, D1 baseball. Obviously, you're a transfer over from Eastern Florida State, which, you were a teammate with Evie Quiles over there. So I want to ask you, what drove you to West Georgia and how has it been adjusting to D1 baseball, specifically facing ASUN conference play?
Well, I'd say the biggest thing that drove me to West Georgia, honestly, was a coach and somebody believing in me. I guess it's kind of hard with the transfer portal being how it is, finding the right opportunity and finding somewhere that actually, you feel like they believe in you and believe in what you can do in your stuff. So I feel like that was the biggest thing bringing me here, and obviously one of my closest friends being here, so that was a big thing. And as far as the season, can you repeat that question? I just completely spaced that.
The mindset and adjustment from Eastern Florida State to D1 baseball.
Honestly, I say the biggest difference you see is depth. Like in Florida JUCO, there's really good competition. You see a lot of guys get drafted out of there every year, in both conferences and D1 JUCO down there. But I'd say the biggest difference is the depth and having guys in the back end that repeatedly Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you're seeing 3 different arms in the bullpen and they're all dominant and they all do their job. So I'd say that's a big adjustment.
And this is a question that both of you guys can answer. So obviously last night, Kennesaw State at home, really good competitive ball game. Just kind of what are both of y'all's thoughts? Just kind of how that game went and kind of things you take away for moving forward.
Josh, you got it.
I mean, that was one of the crazier ways I've ever had to lose a game. I mean, for about 3 seconds there, I thought we walked them off. But, yeah, I mean, I thought we played a complete game. We had some errors pitching-wise. I feel like that was a really good note to kind of start the week off and go into the weekend on, not giving up very many runs, staying in the zone pretty much. So I'd say that's a big thing for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with him. Our biggest thing, we punched out 12 yesterday, and we're not a super punch-out team. We executed with 2 strikes really well yesterday. We got ahead, and we finished off. We really did. It was good. It is what it is. Like, talk about the offense doing the weekend. They saved their runs for the weekend. They scored 2 yesterday. Their right fielder made a great play to end the game. It was just tip your cap. I was super frustrated because I feel like we earned that win, and the ball didn't roll our way.
I do want to ask you, Don Murgo, this question because you're heading into this weekend versus Stetson. You kept it relatively close the last time you played Stetson earlier on, and early success. We talk about that with ASUN conference play. You look at the recent West Georgia struggles. What takeaways and things that you're looking for Stetson, maybe the first time around that you're looking to change the narrative heading into this weekend here at home.
So, on Friday at their place, we lost 4-3. Maverick went out, threw well. We did not execute with runners on base. We had 13 runners left on base on Friday. If we scored those runs, we would have won. Maverick made one mistake. He let up a home run, and that was how we ended up losing by 1 run. Saturday, we went out. Lex threw well. We won that game. And then Sunday, it was kind of a collapse. We were up 4-0, and then we had some walks and a home run in the first. It's the biggest thing is not giving them free bases. Right now they're struggling. They're 5-10 in conference, so they're 2 spots behind us. They're in 6th. We're in 4th. Our goal is to bury them, like truly, to bury them this weekend, put ourselves into the conversation to be back in 2nd place, and step one's win Friday. Win Friday.
Josh, this is a question that I like to ask a lot of athletes in interview, regardless of the sport it is. But for you, growing up, or even currently now, is there an MLB player that you, or MLB pitcher that you kind of model your game after a little bit?
As far as play style, no. I'd say mindset wise, I look at guys like Chris Sale, guys like Amir Garrett, guys just who get after it. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I try to model my game after.
It's a good player comp, Amir Garrett.
Yeah.
It's a good player comp.
Now, Dom and Josh, I'm looking at the end of the schedule here. We got FGCU, which we played relatively well against last time.
Very well.
Yeah, and then North Florida as well. I was actually at every single game for North Florida the last time they were here. And we look at different ways to attack. And yeah, I know you talked about the midweeks. We're gonna push off the Tennessee conversation. I want to talk about strictly ASUN.
Yeah.
Right now we're 8-10 in the ASUN, and on a 5-game losing streak as of right now, but when we talk about hitter mindset and player-to-player matchup, because you talked about lefty-righty and everything mixed up with bullpen decisions, what is, I guess, the plan heading into later half of the season, ASUN, relating to that?
So, ironically, this is a good question. The first half of the ASUN, when we played all 5 opponents, we use a word called vaulted. It's a jokingly word, but it's true. We kept some tricks up our sleeve. We didn't throw many pitches that some guys would usually throw. We attacked differently. So second time around, we're just gonna flip the script. So if we threw away against FGC, we threw away a lot. Now we'll probably end up spinning in, working up, making them just not be comfortable. The biggest thing is keeping them uncomfortable, and that's just not being what's the word? It's I don't even know. Not it's really making them uncomfortable, and by doing so, just competing. I think that's the only way I think of right now.
And then for Dom, for you, so obviously we're pretty late into the season now, playing a lot of games. One thing I've always kind of wondered, obviously, from a starting pitching rotation, when guys sort of struggle, you see teams in MLB, college, whatever it may be, kind of move guys around a little bit. But in the bullpen, is there any kind of changes you make like later on in the season when you see guys kind of like maybe if you've got a guy who he's going in the 7th or 8th inning, and maybe he feels more, you put him in 6th inning one night, he feels comfortable there, pitching well, because you see that in MLB sometimes some guys who are closers. They just can't do it in the 9th inning. They move into the 8th inning. They're incredible. They're unstoppable. Is there anything like that that's happened this season or wherever you guys just move guys around, they get more comfortable in the spot before you had them at a different spot earlier in the year?
Absolutely. Maverick Torres was a pen arm to start the year. Then he was a starter. And then I took him out of the pen this past weekend. He's not a pen arm. He's a starter. So he'll be starting. Zane Wright was a starter. He's in the pen. He's much better in the pen. Davis Williams was a middle guy. Now he's a back end guy. So 100% of that happens at our level.
I do actually want to ask this question because, Josh, we watch you pitch. We think at WSN you have one of the most, I'd say, interesting forms when it comes to a pitcher side of things. We talk about, the development side of things, fundamentals, certain pitches in an arsenal. I did ask you originally about the JUCO to D1 level, but, as the season closes, heading into the off season and next season, what's the biggest takeaway, maybe fundamentally, from your first D1 season that you want to pull and maybe work on or even enhance heading into later this season and the off season?
I'd say the biggest thing to have to be successful in Division One is having control of that second pitch and having not complete control of the third pitch, but having a third pitch that's competitive. You know what I mean? Like in junior college, there's a bunch of kids who are down there throwing 98 miles an hour, but all they've got is their fastball. And sometimes you see those kids go to really big schools and they get buried early because they can't throw strikes. So I'd say the biggest thing for me is try and get my splitter in the zone more and just be able to throw like my cutter, my slider wherever I want to, whenever I want to.
Now, I do want to ask you one more fun question, leave it on a lighthearted note side of things. And again, we've asked Evie this question, we've asked Zane this question, and I want to ask you this because, again, I'm a big foodie. Everybody knows I'm a big foodie, and everybody makes fun of me for being a big foodie around here. Your first year in Carrollton, Georgia, what's your go-to place to maybe get your head in a right mindset and, munch on some food that's not with the team?
I mean, my go-to is Chipotle, but I'd say a local spot that I like to go to, and this is probably a hot take, is Big Bear. I love that place.
Oh, the Chinese buffet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Place is fire.
Yeah.
I think the craziest thing is I've been here 4 years, never been to Big Bear.
Never?
So I'm going to have to.
I always see it when we're leaving Jefferson's because we go to Jefferson's all the time.
Yeah.
Whenever we're leaving, I always see it, and I always wonder. I didn't know what kind of food they had over there. That
Yeah.
was what that
Chinese
was.
buffet.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I like it too.
So do you have a go? I was going to say, do you have a go-to, like, food to get at a Chinese buffet?
Yeah.
Recommendations?
It sounds sketchy, but they have sushi.
They do have sushi. I've had it.
It's pretty fire.
It's good. But like orange chicken's always good. Like the dumplings are good. Fried rice. But orange chicken's really good. It's General Gao's chicken.
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, orange chicken and fried rice sounds good to me. And honestly, I might have to go get some, after this. But Michael, anything else?
Not particularly. I mean, I think
awesome.
next obviously for next week, kind of save. I was going to ask some questions more of how like your mindset would be moving into the conference tournament, things like that. But wait that for next week, I think.
All right, awesome.
Well, sounds good. Well, Dom Murgo, Josh Lanum, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us on episode 7. And stay tuned next week for the Wolves on Deck. I would say season 1 finale.
Season 1 finale.
Season 1 finale.
Thank
Stay
you,
tuned.
guys.
Yeah.